Well, hello there. It's been a while. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. Been a bit busy lately. Not been doing too much. Kind of had a bit of a lost mojo feeling on working on personal stuff, especially. Just been busy on the last two Bill George Y-Wings with Guy, and doing the last few Bomar Monk maquettes on the last run of them. We've got a few left if anyone does still want one. There's only a few left and that is it. Glad to see the back of them. Really enjoyed building them. It's really enjoyed researching it over the past few years, but as for doing them on a run basis, they are so tricky to build. They're so fragile, delicate. The globes are just tricky. But yeah, those are about done. We've got a few boxed and ready to ship. A couple more that we just need to finish and package. But I finally got onto a personal model, a personal build, which is this little Rebel transport here, cast by Mike Salzo and patterned by Jason Eaton. Jason actually got reference of the original from the archives, which allowed the folk to ID, scale, and produce a master pattern and castings for the whole set you see here. Not my favourite build, not my favourite thing to do. It's a lot cruder than I imagined, but it is very tiny. But as a studio model, yeah, it's kind of fun. Very slapdash in the paint department. But anyway, this is another what we're calling a hyperspace model. If any of you remember the Imperial shuttle that I did a video on my channel that I built a couple of years ago or so, that was also a hyperspace model. And basically, these models, they've got to convey a certain sense of scale, but they are built specifically for one shot, which is the hyperspace jump, and I believe it's something to do with camera depth of field. I'm not actually sure how it works. I'm not a special effects guru, but obviously when they're tracking the camera back, I think that's filmed in such a high speed, they want that model to just disappear, but it still has to convey a certain sense of scaleness and detail. So obviously, it's very detailed underneath. The underneath is actually, these are all found kit parts, all the correct found donor parts, but I embellished a little. I wanted to have a bit of fun with it. I wasn't going to take it too serious, so I thought, let's just have some fun. So instead of just brass tubing for the engines, I didn't scratch build. I'm talking nonsense. I kit bashed some parts from I think these were from the Leopold, I think. I trimmed 3 sets of those as the engine, the brackets, and then these little things here are just captive nuts from a 112 F1. And then I decided just on the fly just to carve a few cargo boxes up, and I just used a 3x3 styrene rod, just trimmed it into the correct lengths, and then just sanded them into the rough shape of a cargo container. I didn't add too many. I didn't want to completely clutter it, but it's just a bit of fun, guys. But yeah, I wanted to just go through some of the paintwork, really. Initially, I was really unhappy. I'm still kind of on the fence. It's not the easiest paint application to replicate because it is sheer chaos, and when it's chaotic, it's always hard to fathom what exactly is going on there. But what I initially did, I taped off the underbelly, and then I shot concrete. So concrete was used, ArchiveX concrete was used on the initial base coat, which seemed to be a nice tone actually. It has a pinkish hue anyway, so that was quite good. And then initially I was going with DH Caboose Red for the pink that you see. But it required just too much misting out and subduing. It just wasn't right. What was happening was when I was misting with grime or concrete over the DH Caboose, it was purpling it too much. It just didn't look right. So I went back to the drawing board. I sanded that off, buffed it back, and went back to concrete. And I started looking, and as you do, you get familiar with certain ILM model makers, and I actually started looking at another, I believe, George build, which was the Surak shuttle, the Spock shuttle, and noticing the pinks on that model and the almost very earthy tones on it. So I decided to hell with it, and I actually used a pink, which, you know, normally you wouldn't use a pink to create a pink on the model because you've got so much misting and layers and subduing going on. But I did actually use just neat ArchiveX Pink Raw on these panels. What I did, instead of doing bands across the hull, I actually did just broken up semi-bands panels, and also broke that up with latex. Once the latex was removed, I could then subdue all the pink with, I used grime to subdue it. And once that was done, I added the pencil lines. So all these pencil lines are just drawn on with a mechanical pencil. They ended up a little wider than I'd hoped, but again, I was just working fast, working on the fly. If you do use the pencil, it's wise, put a matte coat on before you do anything else, or you will smudge it everywhere. It'll look all blurry, unless that's the look you're going for. I mean, you could actually like use that approach, but I would suggest putting just a matte lacquer, which is what I did here, just to seal up the graphite. And then you can get into the weathering then. And what I did for the weathering, initial weathering, was just stainings of, you can see almost a yellowy greeny tone. That's ArchiveX Olive Oxide. And with that, I just sporadically, very thin mix, daubed it all over the hull, blotted it off, dappled it across some of the, you know, penciled on panel lines to create these weird, you know, sort of broken up areas. Once that was done, I could then move on to pretty much very, very basic weathering. Very, very basic weathering, just dots and dashes and splurges with the airbrush, really, in dark grey. I mean, as you can see, you know, this little section here, which is, I think it's from the Tamiya. No, it's not. It's from the Rocco Jeopard. From the Rocco Jeopard, I scratch built those on. I just put little warts on it just to give the hull a sense of scale. I think there are some warts on the original, but the reference doesn't show the upper hull too well. You know, most of the reference is kind of from this kind of angle. And yeah, just dirty it up with some SP Dark Lark, then make it look a bit mucky. It ended up getting a bit muckier than I'd hoped, but yeah, it was just a seat of my pants, kind of have a bit of fun, paint up. Then the cargo boxes, I just Boxcar Red, Rust, and ILM Stormy Sea. Yeah, I used ILM Stormy Sea on those. And that was it. You know, put it on a weird little side mount plinth, and it's quite a funky looking little model. It looks quite impressive actually when you stand back from it and you think, wow, actually it does have quite a sense of scale to it for something so tiny. I wouldn't know. I mean, comparing this to maybe, if anyone remembers the MPC Hoff base, I don't know what size this is compared to that. I think this might be even smaller. I'm not sure. I don't. Yeah, I don't recall the size of it, but you know, it is a very small, very crude, simple model. You know, it's much prettier, much cooler to look at from the underneath. But yeah, just a simple one, built for Jedi, and just for a simple visual FX shot. But yeah, I hope that helps on maybe a few colour choices. Anyone that is building one, just a few of the hues that I've used that do seem to work. They do seem to convey that. I mean, I will add, when painting this, I probably looked at the reference photos once. So don't, you know, copy this as your model. Look at the reference photos, which I think have been shared. But look at, you know, if you want it accurate, fully accurate, should I say. This one, it was painted on the fly, seat of my pants, and I thought, well, I'm just going to have some fun. I'm not going to start measuring what panel line should line up with this panel line, and you know, no, too long in the tooth for a model like this. So I'd suggest just have a load of fun with it. But I mean, you know, if you look at the reference photos a lot more than I did, you'll come up with something that's a lot more authentic, so to speak. But as tones go and the actual method of application, it kind of works. So yeah, you know, some people probably go a little more further into the reference photos and come up with something a little more accurate. But anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully we'll get something up soon. We've got spacecrafts coming up in Bicester in March the 21st. There's going to be a load of us at a sci-fi model event there. Guy will be there from Archive X, John Simmons, Ollie Barrett. Yeah, there's quite a few people going of the UK guys. So really looking forward to seeing them, John again. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the models, if I'm honest. I love looking at other people's work. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. I'll be taking a few bits there myself along with Guy. He'll be there with the Archive X stuff. So hope to see you there. If you are there, please come say hi. Would be great to meet you. But thanks for watching, and I hope some of that rambling helped. Catch you soon, guys. Bye.